What is up, guys? Wrestling Premiere is here. Now, before I start talking about the All-American American, I just want to mention one thing. Now, I gotta improve my videos as I believe I could do better than what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to improve the audio, I'm trying to improve the video in general. So right now, I'm just learning how to do stuff. So that's why some sounds are weird. That's why some of the videos off. And I'm just learning how to do stuff. Hopefully, I learn and improve. Anyways. It seems so long ago that Jack Swagger was a rising star. Like, Swagger was pushed heavily from the beginning. He was recruited from college, and he went to developmental. When he debuted in ECW, he was placed in a feud with Tommy Dreamer, and only 3.5 months after debuting, the All-American American captured the ECW Championship from Matt Hardy. He held the title for 3 months before Captain Charisma ended the All-American Americans title reign. Swagger, a few months later, was drafted to Raw. The All-American was mostly in the United States Championship picture in late 2009. That would all change in March of 2010. On the March 1st, 2010 episode of Raw, Jack Swagger qualified for the Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania 26 by beating Santino Marella. The competitors in the Money in the Bank ladder match were Jack Swagger, Evan Bourne, Kofi Kingston, the Chosen One Drew McIntyre, who qualified on his third try. Drew McIntyre lost his first match against Kane, then the second match against Matt Hardy, but Mr. McMahon forced Teddy Long to give McIntyre another match, and the Chosen One would beat some jobber to qualify. Back to the participants: Matt Hardy, Kane, Dolph Ziggler, MVP, Shelton Benjamin, who got released later that month, and Captain Charisma, Christian. Out of all these guys, who did you think would win this one? You'd say either Kofi Kingston, Christian, or Drew McIntyre. You might say Dolph Ziggler's a dark horse and he could win this one, but then you see the likes of MVP and Shelton Benjamin, you'd laugh at the prospect of one of those winning this one. I for one thought that McIntyre or Christian would win this one. So when I seen Swagger unhook the briefcase, you could guess my reaction. Seriously, it was a weird choice. McIntyre had 3 qualifying matches, so you'd think he'd capture the briefcase, but it was the All-American American. The next night on Raw, John Cena and Batista kicked off the show. The two brawled, and then Jack Swagger out of nowhere whacked John Cena with the Money in the Bank briefcase. Swagger grabbed the mic and he called for a ref. Oh, here we go. But obviously, Cena, being Super Cena, woke up and attempted an STF on Swagger, who canceled the cash-in. Later that night, Swagger teamed up with Batista to face John Cena and Randy Orton. The briefcase helped Swagger move up the card, but the next night it'd make him a star, if only for a moment. Chris Jericho came out on the episode SmackDown to address his victory at WrestleMania. Jericho began bragging, and then the best in the world said that by winning the match at WrestleMania, he's proven he's an honest man. Edge came out and he wanted a rematch. Jericho told the Rated R superstar that he doesn't care what he wants. After that, Chris Jericho threatened Edge, telling him to get out of the ring before he tears his Achilles. Edge would attack Jericho and the two would brawl, which led to Edge giving Jericho a spear. Edge would walk out the ring when Jack Swagger smacked Edge with a Money in the Bank briefcase. Jack Swagger grabbed the mic again and called for a ref. He then announced that he's cashing in. When the bell rang, Swagger grabbed Chris Jericho and hit the gut-wrench powerbomb to capture his first World Heavyweight Championship. Wow. I'm not saying this cash-in was amazing, but for some... You know what? Let's not go there. It's becoming a joke on this channel. For some reason, this is not mentioned. I'd rather not say that again. Anyways, when Swagger grabbed the title, he was so serious. From that moment on, you wouldn't see Jack Swagger smiling and acting arrogant. Instead, you'd see a serious-looking man. It's like he knew the title reign would suck and he'd move down the card after the title reign. But right now, let's cover the title reign. By the way, is he the only first-time champion to not smile when they capture the gold? I mean, he celebrated when he unhooked the briefcase, which took him a century to do. Like, it was funny seeing him take a long time unhooking the briefcase. It took him several seconds to unhook the briefcase, and I felt awkward for him. Swagger came out later that night and he held the championship address. He began congratulating everyone for witnessing history. Swagger then mentioned that he set an NCAA record for most pinfall victories, and the All-American American also claimed that he's a replacement for Shawn Michaels, seeing as HBK retired that week. This led to Chris Jericho coming out and saying that Jack Swagger committed the biggest crime in WWE history. Jericho told Swagger that when his ribs heal up, that he's coming for the title. Edge interrupted and said that he deserves all the credit for Swagger cashing in, and the Rated R superstar would challenge Swagger to a match for the title. Jericho would get involved again, and the two would argue until Teddy Long announced that Jericho will face Edge in a match the next week. SmackDown would end with Swagger on top after he hit 2 gut-wrench powerbombs on both Chris Jericho and Edge. Next week comes, and both men lose by countout. So, in London, the All-American American faced both Chris Jericho and Edge in a triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Near the end of the match, Edge speared Jericho and went for the cover, but Jack Swagger threw Edge out of the ring and covered Jericho himself. Swagger would be left without an opponent for Extreme Rules until David Hasselhoff, weirdly enough, announced that Swagger will face Randy Orton at Extreme Rules. Now, Jack Swagger already faced Randy Orton in his Farewell Raw match, and the Apex Predator came out victorious, so it wasn't a far-fetched matchup. Like, Orton could have won the title and the next night get drafted to SmackDown. The match wasn't special, and Swagger did win though. He won convincingly. It was the biggest win of his career up to that point, I believe, other than the title win. So it probably would have did wonders for his career. Then Orton hit an RKO after the match, so yeah. Jack Swagger on that week's SmackDown cut a promo that garnered heat from the crowd. Alright. This is where Swagger's title reign starts to take a turn. Like, a turn for the worse. Not from the promos, but from one match. That one match will ruin his title reign from here on. Swagger on that week's SmackDown cut a promo that garnered heat from the crowd. Swagger was booed by the crowd for once again giving us his life story. When I was a baby, I did this. When I was 15, I did this. Teddy Long would come out and he'd announce a new #1 contender, The Big Show. Now, The Big Show had just turned face by KOing The Miz, and earlier that night knocking out both Chris Jericho and Edge. Big Show would list all of Swagger's accomplishments, and Show would tell Swagger that he's missing only one accomplishment: early retirement, and Show KO'd the hell out of Swagger. Damn. 2 weeks later, Jack Swagger once again listed his accomplishments, but this time he brought trophies. Well, this one's gonna end well for the All-American American. Big Show crashed the party, and the Giant began touching Swagger's trophies. Obviously, Jack Swagger didn't like this, so Big Show went up a notch and started to destroy the All-American American's trophies. The best part was when Big Show punted the football into the crowd. On the final SmackDown before Over the Limit, Kofi Kingston, with the help of the Big Show, beat the World Heavyweight Champion. The champ would try to return the favor later that night by interfering in Big Show's own match. At first, it looked like Swagger had the upper hand, but Big Show knocked down the chair in the All-American American's hands, and the champ ran away. Now, the match at Over the Limit was bad, but thankfully it didn't last long. The worst part of the match is the part where Swagger's momentum is completely derailed. He got himself disqualified 5 minutes into the match. Swagger used that chair to attack Big Show after the match, but that would amount to nothing as Big Show bounced back and delivered a beatdown to the All-American American. Alright, now Swagger is a chump from here on. Like, this matchup ruined his title reign. They were going good in the build-up to Over the Limit and everything, but this match ruined his title reign. Swagger was booked to face 3 other men in a fatal 4-way match at the namesake pay-per-view. Big Show qualified for the match since he won by DQ. Undertaker and CM Punk qualified by winning their matches. So yeah, but the Dead Man wanted to compete on the pay-per-view after Kane found him in a vegetative state. Oh man, they really mentioned that a lot at the time. I remember in 2010, they mentioned that vegetative state thing a little too much. In reality, The Undertaker suffered a concussion and a broken nose during his match against Rey Mysterio. I'm gonna talk about that storyline in another video, so just wait up for it. I mean, it didn't have good matches, but I gotta talk about it. For now, let's focus on Swagger. Unfortunately though, we can't really focus on Swagger because the main story is Kane trying to find out who attacked his brother, The Undertaker. Rey Mysterio would replace The Undertaker, and Swagger would drop the title to him and eat a pin in 10 minutes. Weak title reign. I'm not sure if Swagger didn't have enough time to shine, or he just wasn't good enough to hold the title. I'm not sure, because he was getting heat from the crowd during his feud with Big Show, and he did beat Orton clean. I'm not sure, but one thing that is for sure is that he's the weakest champ other than Dolph Ziggler. After this, Swagger looked to reclaim the gold again in a match against Rey Mysterio. The match was excellent, but Swagger wouldn't recapture the title. Instead, Kane would cash in his briefcase on a vulnerable Rey Mysterio, and Swagger from there on would move down the card, although that match he had with Rey was quite fun to say the least. In that match, Rey Mysterio gave Swagger a hurricanrana into the Gulf of Mexico. Swagger shouted that he's drowning, and then Kane chokeslams Rey into the Gulf to end the show. Weird ending to that match. It was random. Jack Swagger began to fall down the card after that, and later that year, the All-American American would bring in a mascot, an eagle by the name of the Swagger Soaring Eagle. The guy that was in the costume was Chavo Guerrero. Swagger would be ridiculed by Edge. This character is kind of comparable to Baron Corbin. Just look at him. Anyways, my opinion on Swagger's title reign is that it was going well even into the Big Show feud, but when he had that match where he lost by DQ and he got his ass whooped afterwards, it just went into a downward spiral. Like, other things did hurt his title reign, but this hurt it the most. The other things were the fact that he acted so serious. He wasn't the high school jock, the high school bully anymore. He was so serious, he was just staring like this. He's basic. He didn't do the push-ups anymore. Basically, the title changed everything about him. Yet, once he lost the title, he was doing the push-ups. He was acting goofy again. Like, come on, why didn't they let him do that stuff? Maybe it would have been better. Also, I just want to mention another thing. Remember when he was being called a Kurt Angle ripoff? He had the singlet, he even had the cape, and who could forget the ankle lock? Anyways, Swagger wouldn't win the title again, although he was going to at WrestleMania 29, but unlucky All-American got caught with weed and charged with a DUI. Now, Swagger's with AEW, and someone reminded me of an MMA match where he said he has a boner or something. That was so random. Anyways, he kind of messed up that WrestleMania 29 run, but this first title run might not even be his fault. Like I said about Swagger, he just probably wasn't fit to be champion. He wasn't ready at the time, and plus he didn't have like good mic skills. But I will say though that I love this song On Your Knees. It was awesome, and it fit him to a T. So yeah. Anyways, that's it for this video. Make sure you hit a swagger bomb on the like button, and perhaps a gut wrench power bomb on the subscribe button. Peace, I'm out.